Welcome back, everyone, to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. This is your weekly explicit deep dive into the Clone Wars, episode by episode. Kevin Horde with you.
Also, Lorenzo Fon over here.
Lorenzo, how you doing?
Good. Yourself, yeah?
Good, good. Today we are covering Season 1, Episode 5 of the Clone Wars, which is titled Rookies. It's got a production code of 114. Original air date was
October
24th, 2008.
I gotcha.
I've got two columns on my spreadsheet here. One says air date, one says release date. So, one of those is for the show, and one of those is for our show.
For us, yeah.
And I started doubting myself as I was reading across this thing. But
doesn't one say 2018?
Yeah, and that's why I slowed down. I was like, oh shit,
because they both end with 8.
They both end in a fucking 8. Like, fuck. Because I've totally done that before. I'm like, this fucking comes out on this date.
You're like, nope,
that
does not come out in April. Nope.
Nope, it does not.
The fortune cookie for this one, by the way, is the best confidence builder is experience.
Yes.
And Wikipedia was accurate on that one. So
yes. And by the way, I believe we are watching a director's cut today as well.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah,
yes.
I didn't pay attention to that.
So it's easy for me on my end because I watch the DVDs, right? And next to the DVD, there's like a little clapboard or like a reel or something. I think the reel is for like the behind the scenes stuff, which I actually took notes on. So I know who people are that I may or may not be talking about. But then there's a clapboard at like after the title if it's a director's cut, I think is the way it works. Or it's the other way around. I don't remember.
Whereas Netflix, which is what I'm watching it on, gives me none of that.
Nope, so. It just gives you the episode and that's it.
Yep. Hey, this is the next episode. There you go. Have fun. Yeah.
So a long time ago, I just stopped looking at who directed these and all that, written by and all that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention either.
Because I don't know, it was extra notes that I was taking that if we covered it all, we weren't talking about it too much. So I don't really feel it's necessary for us to go through that.
Well,
I mean, maybe it is.
No. Here's the thing: backing out and looking at it from the grand scheme of things,
right?
When it comes to television series, I'm not trying to downplay the work of these people, but the director is kind of there to set tone, consistent tone for the individual episode.
Right.
But really, the one in charge of all things is the showrunner, which would be Dave Filoni.
Right. And so he's credited as like the supervising director.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
same deal.
So he's in charge of the whole thing, right? So like the director of the episodes has a lot of weight on their shoulders, but they still have to answer nonetheless to Dave Filoni.
Correct.
Right. So when it the maybe the only thing that we would really reference too much is the writing,
Uh-huh.
But really then again it still all gets filtered at least once through the lens of Dave Filoni.
Correct.
So it's the process is a little bit different than how people think of like movies, right? Like everything rests on the director,
Yeah, and from a little more down to earth pen to paper perspective, it was one more step that I was going through in between each episodes, and I felt that my time was better spent looking at other things.
Yes.
So that is why I have moved on from that. And I guess I brought it up because I didn't realize that it was a thing that I had begun to omit until today.
Yeah.
And that's only because in my notes I have written director's cut, and in that is the word director. So at that point I realized I don't know. Yeah. And I haven't been doing that. So whatever.
I think it's just like extended cut might be more apropos, but it's just like director's cuts just in the vernacular, right?
Yeah, and so I did figure out a little bit of why there are director's cuts of some of these.
Okay.
So it looks like essentially Dave Filoni came, they went through production. They have this story. Here you go. And in some instances, it's like, oh shit, this is fucking 48 seconds too long, or a minute and a half too long, or whatever. And so at that point, they needed to do a little bit of trimming to get it down to the appropriate amount of time for commercials and whatnot to be on broadcast television. In this episode, some of our clones, there are two occurrences where the clones say like "what the hell" or "the hell with that" or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it didn't. This one was actually censored for TV.
Interesting.
Since
it's funny you bring that up. I mean, we can get to it now, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I did make that note.
Yep.
It stands out when it happens.
It does.
Yeah.
So,
but it's interesting because like in the movies, we definitely have precedent for that.
in the live action movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct.
So in the 6, Han Solo says, "I'll see you in hell."
Right. And from what I saw in the version that was released on TV, one of those stayed, but not both.
Interesting. Okay.
So that is what I found as far as why we've got a director's cut and a release cut. And basically Dave Filoni said, this is what I got, this is what it is, and occasionally there were some trimmings or some editing that needed to be done, or some censoring rather. So,
and that makes perfect sense
because it's stuff like stuff that was cut out of one of the Malevolents, but I don't remember which one. I actually found a breakdown of what the difference was, and it was like some of it was like a difference of fractions of a second of a camera staying on a character, and they would cut like 0.8 seconds out, 0.08 or 0.075 to just like trim little bits of stuff, which I thought was crazy because that all built up to quite a bit of material.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that's the information I have right now, and if I can find more, because so far I've only been able to find and not even like a side-by-side or a shot-by-shot comparison, but a somewhat detailed, these are the changes between the
airing and home release.
Correct.
Yeah.
For one episode, and that's it. I haven't been able to find too much else, except for the only other thing that I saw was this tidbit about the HE double hockey sticks word. Was too bad for the kiddos. So
again, contextually speaking, because these are airing on Cartoon Network,
right?
So I took the note because it stood out that would get by on what is a children's program, right?
Right, which is, I guess, why one was allowed. I don't really know the
that is interesting, yeah.
I don't know the logistics of all of that. But what I do know is that Rookies is part 2 of a 3-part story arc.
Part 2?
Yes.
Are we going back to Clone Cadets?
We are going back to Clone Cadets. So,
all right, should we set up the episode a little bit before we kind of get into it?
Sure, yeah, let's do that. Let's just keep that in the back of our minds as we're going through all this. And we'll go from there. So, as you said, the fortune cookie is the best confidence builder is experience, and after that we cut to the newsreel, which is kind of standard newsreelness.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things that stood out to me in the newsreel. The narrator says the following. He says, clones are rushed into service to support their Jedi generals. Like, I thought it was odd that, like, it says they're, like, rushed into service, because he follows it up with a statement that says, Unfortunately, because of the relentless demands of battle, many young clones must join the struggle before their intensive training has been completed. After that, we're introduced to the clones on this little base, right?
Yeah.
So we start outside this base on what we find out is a moon of Rishi.
Yeah.
Right? So if we can think back to Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan is talking to everybody's favorite diner owner, Dexter Jettster.
Yeah.
He says,
What do you know?
What do you know? This here's a Camino saber dart.
Thank goodness he knew somebody that would know exactly that information.
Right. It's very, very specific. But,
yes.
He hasn't seen one of those since he was prospecting on Sub Terrell. It comes from them Kaminoans.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan asks, where's Camino? And he says it's outside the Rishi maze. So that's where we get the moon, the Rishi moon. Mm-hmm. I guess there's a planet in the Rishi maze, and this is a moon around it. But we know that it's located somewhere near Camino. That's a long roundabout way of getting to describe the location of this place.
But I'm glad you did, because I want to bring up that in the way this episode is presented, mm-hmm. that information doesn't actually get revealed until way down the line.
Okay.
This is the episode for sure that while I was taking notes, I had to pause and then kind of reference Wikipedia a lot more.
Okay.
Than I have in previous ones, and when it comes to location names and especially clone names.
Right.
Because I don't even think it's like until like, we're talking maybe like 5 minutes into the episode at this point, if that, really.
Yeah, not even. I mean, this is like immediately after the newsreel, so we're like seconds in.
So just like into the show proper, like, but they set up the space and everything like that, and I was noticing like nobody gets named. They don't name where they are. They're just on a base. It
does take a while to get to the names of some of these people, and I have a note for the name of one person that we'll get to that before we sat down to talk today, I was thinking about this character, and I couldn't remember if the name was actually in the episode or not.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. So
yeah, that was my trouble. I as I was taking notes, I was kind of careful to... I'm careful to write notes with the information that I should have.
Right.
Or that I would have only watching the show.
Right. Whereas
I
write notes with as much information as I can find and then try to sort through it later.
Like you're writing from like a fully omnipotent viewpoint.
Absolutely.
Whereas I'm writing it from like what would somebody think if this was like a pure sit down, watch through, popcorn in hand,
right,
sort of viewing, But the reason I have Wikipedia open is sometimes even when character names get named or planets get named out, being the Star Wars universe, sometimes some of this stuff is really difficult to spell, like... It
totally is.
So the Wikipedia helps my brain function in that manner. So anyways, carry on. That was my thing about that. So
nope, you're all good. 2 quick notes on the outside of this place before we get to the inside. As we got kind of a camera pan that comes in, and there is a Nibre mantis that flies past. Mm-hmm. So we just met these 2 episodes ago in Shadow of Malevolence.
Shadow, yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. This thing is much smaller, but back when we were talking about it 2 weeks ago, one of the other specifics was, as far as location of where these things live, was like the Rishi moon. So we see that payoff, if you want to call that now. You see one of them fly by. That's it. And then we pan over the single docking platform of this little monitoring base that we'll find out that's what it is later. Right now, you know, it's just kind of a building placed precariously on the side of a cliff. But in the floor is painted in Arabesh AO85, so I guess that is the docking platform number. And it just kind of looks like, if you're looking at it, it just looks like a floor design. It doesn't look like anything else, but
yeah,
you know, that's what it says, so whatever. We got one clone that's out on the platform who identifies himself as Deck Officer, which is a callback to A New Hope. Nope. Not A New Hope. Empire. In the base on Hoth, when Luke goes missing, Han starts yelling at Deck Officer, like, where's Luke? Because he checked in, blah, blah, blah. So I felt that was a pretty prominent title to call somebody, because it's, you know, just
like, is that entire role that he's just like out there just keeping an eye on that deck? Like,
I think the entire role for that particular trooper was to get that Deck Officer comment in this episode.
He's just there making sure that the deck is still there. I guess. Yeah.
And that's it.
Things are cleared. Yeah.
Then we cut to inside, and we see a whole bunch of clones, and kind of through the interaction of these clones, like we see we see a couple guys arm wrestling, we see a dude walking around staring at an iPad. They're apparently listening to the Grand Army of the Republic broadcast radio.
Yeah. That's actually where my notes begin.
Yeah.
Does that count as a radio? What is that? Because there's a hologram of the DJ.
In the behind-the-scenes stuff, Dave Filoni specifically calls it the Republic radio.
Okay.
So it not only is there audio, but there's also the holovid of the droid DJ, the DDJ, I guess.
Like, yeah, the double DJ. Yeah. So, because it's weird too, because like they don't stay on her for long, but
no, not
as
at
they're
all.
kind of,
it's like she's in for what, like 4 seconds.
Yeah, there's a close up of her, and then they do the scan around the room of all the other clones.
Yeah, to kind of show what they're doing.
Yeah, but as it kind of pans across, they definitely show her mildly dancing to the music that's playing in the background, and it's kind of like this weird electro lounge jazz thing going on, right?
Okay. Yeah, so I totally didn't catch that.
But the visual of it is weird, because she's not like actively dancing, but she's just more like half-heartedly like sambaing and sashaying to the music, right? Like
kind of as a chaperone may dance on the fringes of the punch table at prom,
basically,
or something.
Yeah, like it's how I would dance if I were depressed and listening to the Smiths.
Okay.
Like, that's how I would describe this double DJ moving, right? And I do want to point out to the listeners that this entire time I've kind of been like lightly gyrating in my chest.
Lorenzo has been doing a full body pantomime of himself.
Just kind of grooving to no music in particular.
Right.
So, but that just stood out to me because have we ever seen this before in any other Star Wars media before this? Like, I don't recall it ever showing up in any of the movies.
What about the holiday special?
That
you've seen it, right?
Oh, I've seen it.
So
it just definitely stays very far out of my mind. I remember the weird Life Day roaring and
Yeah, I believe that
lady Wookiees
throughout the holiday special. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in ages. I should probably sit down.
I have not either. I used to have a digital copy on my computer that was like too big to burn onto a DVD, so the only way that I could watch it was like on an old iPod video, like
It's on YouTube.
like a decade. Yeah, well, this was all,
Yeah.
I watched it probably back in 2009-ish on a plane to a buddy's wedding.
Maybe as we get closer to the holidays, we'll have to throw in a special holiday episode.
We will. A special holiday special episode.
Where we start talking about Lumpy and what he means to the universe.
Lumpy Waroo. He's my dude.
Oh, boy. Anyway, so enough about this weird radio.
We'll probably cover that at that point in time.
Yeah.
One more thing of note. I think she says that they are broadcasting from like the MIMBAND system. Yeah.
I didn't write it down, but...
So I looked up MIMBAND, like, what is this? MIMBAN on our trusty Wikipedia, and at the top under the canon section, the first thing that it says is... It says, choose your destiny, a Han and Chewie adventure, last shot, class. No, that's not what I was looking for. What I was looking for is the actual first thing it says, because I just skipped over that, and I was like, obviously this is what I want to read, but it's not. It says, warning, this page contains major spoilers for Solo, a Star Wars story. Caution is advised. So at that point...
Did you go straight into that section?
No, I stopped reading. I fucking closed the page out.
Because it's funny you bring it up, because, I got last shot backing out of the episode for a second. So I'm in possession of that book, and I know the Han and Chewie Choose Your Own Adventure thing is coming at some point. Yes. I haven't ordered it or anything, but...
So I guess MIMBAN is in both of those, but it also seems to possibly feature heavily in... Solo,
the upcoming film,
which comes out in 9 days from today,
from this release.
From this release.
The release of this episode, listeners.
Lorenzo was looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, that's not 9 days.
Yeah. When we're recording this is definitely not anywhere near when this is releasing, good listeners. So if some of our references are out of date, that's why. We normally record and then immediately burn it onto vinyl, and then Lorenzo's got to do some work to... Oh, not even vinyl. It's like an old tube,
like the wax tube.
Yeah, the wax tubes. Yep.
So Lorenzo's got to do a little bit of converting from there to...
going full BioShock mode.
He does some magic. I'm not really sure. And then... I think within minutes...
Because Kevin needs to physically send me his wax tube, and it has to not break via USPS,
Yeah, I thought it was within minutes that you guys could listen to this, but it sounds like I'm being corrected. But as if you are downloading this the day of release, 9 days from now, we will learn more about MIMBAN, and I don't have any other information about it yet.
Yeah, we'll probably revisit the idea of MIMBAN at some other tangent in a much, much later episode when you guys are listening, and you guys are going to then also sit there and be like, but Solo came out months ago. But yeah, guys, we're staying ahead of the game, okay? We're
doing our best.
Yeah. we're getting things done, okay? Best we can.
You know who's not getting things done?
The clones?
The clones. These fucking clones. Yeah. They all kind of get their little moment to shine to introduce themselves, even though you don't necessarily hear their names outright.
I watched it 3 times. They don't name anybody except for, I want to say, Cut Up, or one of them gets named.
They definitely name Cut Up. So throughout this episode, we do learn that our 5 guys from not the burgers and fries place, but from one
Clone
of our
Cadets?
earlier episodes, Clone Cadets, are
Yes.
in this episode. They are
Yeah.
the rookies of which the title speaks.
Mhm.
So, they're kind of bickering amongst each other, and I think Echo is talking to one of the other clones, and he's like, hey, shouldn't you be watching your scope? Like, we got a serious job to do here. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And, like, hits a button on a screen, and you see what pops up, which is just, like, an outside view. And he's like, look, it's the same as always. Like, all clear. I've looked at this 50 million fucking times, and it's
Yeah.
always the same. One question I have is, why do you have to hit a button to, like, see what the security camera is looking at?
Yeah, why isn't that a station? I also had that exact same question.
Like,
When
shouldn't
he
it just
walks
be-
over,
shouldn't it just be
Yeah, it
on the screen?
it should be on, and then he can kind of just glance at it, but, glance away to keep himself from going crazy, Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why the button push is necessary. If your job is to do security, why isn't that just always on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I also had that question. So
at this point, Fives and Heavy are bitching about how they want to be on the front line. We should be out there blasting tinnies or clankers or whatever they call
Yeah.
the droids, right? Blah, blah, blah. We want to see some action. Their sergeant comes in, and he's at this point he's just referenced as Sarge, right?
just a sergeant, yep,
That's it.
or Sarge, yeah,
And so he explains.
because like he comes in, yeah,
Go ahead.
he says, yeah, because he walks in, and one of the clones notices, and then they all stand at attention. Essentially, is what happens.
Yep.
Right.
They're essentially like officer on deck.
Yeah. I just want to bring up that visually speaking, none of this read to me. It
Okay.
took me about a few more times kind of going back, figuring out what happened. Like once they stood at attention, I figured out, oh, there's a like big boss in the room,
Yeah, I guess I didn't take any notes on the visual difference between the clone troopers,
Like
because
yeah.
he doesn't have like the yellow markings or anything, which is typically what
No.
you see is like some other color marking to denote a difference in rank.
Yeah. And that's kind of what threw me off about this intro section is that they do the very due diligence to kind of show what each clone is doing. Two of them are arm wrestling, one is complaining, blah, 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 not checking security cam,
Mm-hmm.
But from a visual standpoint, they're clones, so their faces are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
None of them really have differentiating haircuts per se, and their armor isn't
Their armor's
terribly different.
their armor is pretty much all the same at this point.
Yeah. So when it comes to their facial, like I know 3 of them had like the exact same haircut with maybe minor like
Lines
details,
or something.
yeah, like
Yeah.
buzzed in lines on the side or something like that.
So I know that Heavy has either a scar or like a light tattoo on his neck.
yeah.
That looked like quotation marks, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scouring through some Arbesh, like trying to find if this was like some lettering or something, but it's not. So I don't know if it's like space tribal tattoos or something
Yeah, it's just there.
for like a clone bro. Fives
Just
has
looks cool.
has a 5 tattooed on his face, like on his right cheekbone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right here. I'm
Like where
pointing
a
at.
teardrop would go.
Yep, where a teardrop would go if he were in prison.
Yes, yeah.
But the other 3, like, cut up nothing.
No.
Echo nothing.
Yeah.
So
So
they're all pretty generic.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of like visual storytelling, this one just frustrated me right off the bat.
Right.
And then when the sergeant walks in, there's just another guy that enters, and at first glance, he also does not have any differentiating markings on him.
Did he have the shoulder pad?
Not in the first scene that I recall. He might later, but then it gets a little bit more confusing because more clones kind of come in that have actual differentiating markings, and then I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
So
I'm trying to remember.
We'll have to push forward because I think otherwise we're gonna get stuck talking about these clones. And spoiler alert: not all of them make it through the entire episode.
No.
So at this point, so the whole reason that Sarge is on deck is to tell everybody that they got an inspection coming in, so everybody needs to get their shit together, be tip top, put your fucking helmets on, polish your cod piece or whatever, and
stop arm wrestling.
Stop
over
arm
the
wrestling.
Equipment.
Like take this shit seriously. Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
At that point, we cut up to a good guy Star Destroyer, and Obi and Annie are there. Obi's talking to Anakin about when's the last time he slept, and Anakin's like, "Oh, dude, I'll sleep when we find Grievous."
Yeah.
Which confuses me because we just, like, the last episode that we would have seen, not only in chronology, but also in release. The last three were the Malevolence trilogy, so we've got Grievous in our scopes. Like, yeah, Grievous escapes, but Anakin's acting in this episode as though Grievous has been, and I guess to a certain degree has been, like, sneak attacking and just wiping people out or something, but Anakin's got, like, this paranoid feeling the entire time, and Obi-Wan's like, dude, don't worry, like, if Grievous is coming around, we'll know, we'll find out.
Yeah.
So,
but he's definitely, like, staring into a hollow map, not blinking, essentially, like, clicking around, like, just, I don't know exactly what he's looking at, but he's just looking at, like, this big globe thingy.
I think he's waiting for the invisible hand or Grievous's personal ship to, like, pop up on this radar and have the like tracking code of, like, a little blinking message above it that says, like, Grievous here, Grievous here, Grievous here. But it's definitely implied that he's been doing this, like, days on end, just staring at this fucking map. And
but you bring up a good point, though, because, like, if the last thing we saw was the Malevolence kind of hobbling away, it had its hyperdrive disabled.
It smashed into the moon.
Oh, that's right.
We destroyed it.
Then Grievous, that's right. Grievous was in the smaller ship. That's right.
So Grievous was in his smaller ship and took off. So
that's right. Okay.
But my opinion is that we have a history with Grievous, and the history is Grievous comes in, tries to whoop some ass, causes some mayhem. Usually, there are some losses on both sides of the fucking battle equation, and then eventually, who we deem as the good guys start defeating Grievous, and he fucking hides tail, hops in a ship, and runs. And then he's gone. You don't see him for a while, and then later, repeat. So we are in the Grievous just ran away phase.
Yeah.
So I think what's going on here is a jump in production.
Okay.
So we kind of have three different timelines on this show. We have the timeline of what order they were released in. So season 1, episode 1, blah, 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 blah. Right. We have the timeline of chronology, which is what we are following. And then there's also the timeline of production. So the production number on this is 114. The production number on the last episode, both in chronology and in release order, is 111. So there's 2 episodes in the middle that we will see later, but they were produced in between these. Now, the way that I'm reading that is that as they were working on story 111, which is Destroy Malevolence, and there's 2 other stories that were being worked on, then there was Rookies at 114. So as these things are being worked on, I'm guessing that because it happens earlier in production order, that okay, we're working on 114. We know that in 111 we destroy Malevolence, and then we know in 112 and 113 these things happen. And I think that maybe Anakin's paranoia and hunt for Grievous obsession comes from one of those 2 things.
Okay.
Or one of those 2 stories.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share what those stories are? Or do you want to just come across them later?
Yeah, come across. Let's stick with the chronology of it.
Right. That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we get this kind of weird thing going on between Obi and Annie.
Yeah. So, I mean, either way, especially watching it in chronology, and even if we weren't, because we're still coming off the last episode. Right now, we're kind of going in order.
Right.
It stands out. It is odd. So, I mean, that's all we can really say about that for now. It didn't hit me right because it is kind of out of nowhere.
It stands out because we got this, the episode's title is Rookies. Like, we're talking about these rookie clones. We're introduced to these clones, and then it's like cut away for fucking Obi-Wan to ask Anakin like when he slept and how he's feeling.
Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with anything,
Right. So at this point, Cody calls in to report to Yularen, who will then essentially let Obi-Wan and Anakin know that Cody's on the phone for him. Cody and Rex are the guys that are going to be doing this inspection. So I think they're just calling in to like say, hey, this is where we're headed. Like, we're going. That's
literally all it is. It's a check-in. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we cut back to the base. At this point, there's alarms going off. We got a meteor shower coming in. So some nondescript clone is like, raise the shields. I would imagine that is the sergeant. I don't know. Again, visually, they were
pretty similar. Indiscernible. Yeah, it was so hard to tell apart. It made note-taking very frustrating. Because even, like, I think Wikipedia was pretty vague. It was just like, a clone says to pull the shields, or they pull up the shields. Like, that's it. Like, they.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to break it down to who's who.
Yeah. So anyways, the meteor...
Speaking of nondescript dialogue as far as who's who, somebody is talking to Heavy and is like, oh, you wanted excitement? Here's your excitement. He goes, ooh, meteor shower, like, so exciting. Turns out that it's not just a meteor shower, right?
Yep.
There's a couple cool shots of like the shields up, and you see this base from the outside, and there's meteors like slamming into the ground, like slamming into the shield.
Mm-hmm. Which is like disintegrating,
yeah, which is cool.
And it makes sense from a logistical standpoint.
And I love my shields. Like, when something hits it turns blue, and it doesn't fucking.
And you get like the wave pattern of energy, like dispersing out from it.
Yeah, so I dig it. I'm down with that. But it turns out that also what's coming down is at least one, like. I feel like you only saw one, but I feel like there needs to be more of these.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that there was just one, but they only
the hunter escape pods, the hunter pods.
Yeah,
the hunter bombers. I don't know what to call the vessel, like the type of vessel, but the name of the vessel is like a hunter. It's the thing that it's got like a round base to it, and then like these 4 grabby mandibles on it that were used.
It's just a tiny little ship of some sort.
Yeah,
it's not a big ship, just a tiny ship,
a reconnaissance ship or something. But we see him in the Malevolence trilogy.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so these pods fall down, and droid commandos come out of them. So not just the
battle droids.
Yeah, not the regular battle droids, not the little
And not the super
tan
battle
colored
droids.
ones. Yeah.
And not
Like a nice
the roly droidicas.
Yeah, nothing big, but still beefier than the standard droids, yeah.
Correct.
So they're coming up to the base. They pop out of that little ship.
So the deck officer that we were is the first clone that we were introduced to, who's got like binoculars attached to like the top of his helmet. Like pulls him down. He's watching the fucking meteors come in, and then he sees a hunter ship, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he pulls his binoculars up, and he's surrounded by commando droids.
Yeah,
and they fucking take him out. Like no holds bar. Like boom, gone. See you later.
Yeah, done.
At this point, then it cuts back to the hunter ship, and you see a whole bunch of these droids jumping out, which is why we're saying that it looks like there should be more than one of these, but you only see one.
Yeah, because there's a lot of droids that end up in this episode, but there's more droids than space on the one pod. So
right. So the sergeant decides that he's going to send out a couple of clones to investigate. Because they're trying to get a hold of CT-327, who is the deck officer, and he's not answering.
Nope.
And
because he's dead.
Instead of Sergeant saying, "Hey, Fives, hey, cut up, go and investigate," he just points to two people and he's like, "You and you, like, go get it done.
Get going."
And I think it's Fives and Heavy. I think one of them's got a big ass gun, which leads me to believe that that's Heavy.
That makes sense. I didn't make that connection, but I will say, just watching this, even as attentively as I was trying, this part of it. I mean, I know we've been talking about it for like the last 40 minutes now,
right?
But again, just from a visual storytelling standpoint, it was so passive that my brain was just like, all right, whatever. 2 clones are headed out. That's all my brain wants to process for that, because they're not giving me anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2 clones are headed out. Commandos are trying to head in. The droids attack. Alarms are sounding. I got a real quick note that said Sarge is dead, so that's coming up real fast.
Oh, yeah, no, I have on one line, I'm going to read you my note.
Sure.
All across one line, droids infiltrate and begin shooting, kill Sergeant. It really does happen that quickly.
Yeah, so I was thinking that I must have missed something, or
nope,
maybe
that's
not.
Really... No, because, they open the door, the clones start heading down, Heavy starts shooting, if that is indeed him, with the big turret gun thing, and then it's too much for them. They start turning around, but then they kind of get pinned down. My description is taking even longer because I have to describe to you they're just pinned down. They're like, go back and warn the others, and then the droids already shoot that guy.
Right.
The sergeant is like, just get out of here.
Visually, this happens in fucking 20 seconds.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
If that. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Sarge is like, get out of here, and then immediately gets shot from behind, and then a droid walks up and shoots him one more time in the back or in the face or something.
And I think this may have been another one of those sensory edits.
Yeah.
Where there's some straight up fucking execution and murder in this show. In this episode,
yeah.
And I think some of that was either re-edited at a different angle, or make an earlier cut so you don't see.
Yeah, you can probably kind of take out a couple frames here and there and not show the laser going right into
aim
the
at
armor,
aim at the face, cut away, hear the blaster bolt, instead of aim at the face, pull the trigger, see a red hole in between the eyes of a trooper or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's some of the stuff that's going on. But these commando droids fucking kick ass. Like we said,
they're not bumbling like the other ones.
No, not at all. And their sound design is even different, where the battle droids are clanky, which is why they're called clankers, and like their servo motors are on overdrive. In the behind the scenes stuff, who's our sound designer? David Acord and Matthew Wood are talking about the sound design of these new droids. And they talked about how they wanted to make them like, they're called commandos, so they were given a visual difference between any droid that we've seen before. The closest to anything that we would have seen would have been Magna droids in the live action Revenge of the Sith. Not that there's a cartoon Revenge of the Sith, but you know what I mean. But they wanted to design their sound like a little bit more muted, a little bit more insulated, as though there was an effort taken when these things were produced to keep that in mind. Because humans, when they move around, at least the way you're supposed to work is like when you straighten your elbow's not like, you know, creaking like a door or anything. Sometimes your joints pop and things make noise. Joints make noise after wear and tear and stuff like that. But for
Not
the most
on just
part,
like everyday movement.
Youthful bodies don't make a lot of noise when joints are doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, it's like the difference between buying if you get a brand new car for $10,000, like a Toyota Yaris, you know?
Okay.
Where there's like no, or not as much like insulation and stuff. There's not a lot of soundproofing, so you're driving down the freeway and you just hear like the wind hitting the front of the car, whooshing past the windshield. But if you move up to like a Camry, then there's a little bit more care put into sound insulation, right?
Right.
It's sort of that idea. That's what I definitely got from that, where it's like, okay, so those little battle droids, those are being mass produced. We got to make those as cheaply as possible because we're going to make a shit ton of those.
Right.
Now, these are going to cost more, these commando droids, but let's take a little care into them so that hopefully they're a little bit more precise. They'll last a little bit longer.
And maybe they'll be a little bit better at their job.
Yeah, more efficient, not just bumbling idiots. So that's what I got. That part of the visuals I did appreciate. They're a different color to their eye designs. Their face designs are a little they're similar to the battle droids, but they kind of have like a set in mean eye kind of design. Like their eye is kind of permanently like cocked towards a furrowed eyebrow look.
Right. Because the way that the battle droids, their eyes look like two half circles separated by a small thin piece of metal that's connected to their faceplate, essentially.
Yeah.
And for the battle droids, they're horizontal. And these are a little bit more vertical. So they even look like, quote unquote, meaner, sneakier, whatever.
Yeah.
I had one more comment about the sergeant who died. This is the character that I couldn't remember if his name was ever given in the show. Like, his name's O9er.
Yeah.
Which I guess goes to whatever his CT designation is.
It only...
And I don't know when it comes up.
I recall it coming up.
Does it come up later?
It comes up much later. It comes up... I'll bring it up when it comes up.
Okay,
but
cool.
Anyway, so up to this point, a sergeant dies and we don't know his name.
Correct. We just know him as Sergeant. And
Sergeant.
you get to see him, so he's got a little bit more gray in like his eyebrows and his hair, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess that's supposed to be distinguished. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they can't.
We're fucking 10 minutes into this episode and the sergeant's dead. We've got 4 clones that escape through an air vent as the droids are like cutting their way in. So we got 4 clones that are run away. These are our rookies. These are 4 guys that we met in Clone Cadets.
Yep.
I don't know where the 5th one is. I guess the 5th one's dead already.
One of the
I think
either.
I feel like one of them didn't even make it into the episode at all.
Again, I heard the names, but I barely paid attention to. I didn't go back in my notes to see who. Yeah.
Right. It's soon that the names start popping up.
Yeah.
The droids like take over the fucking base or in the command center or whatever.
Yeah.
They call
Grievous.
Grievous.
Yep.
They turn the alarm off. They turn the all clear signal on. Make sure that's going. And then they're talking.
And they lock it in too.
Yep. They hardwire this fucking alarm. So the point of this base is it's like the guy on the crow's nest stick with the radar gun on Endor, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, because the sergeant, we didn't mention it, but yeah, the sergeant way at the beginning of the episode kind of brings up that the base is super important because it's the base closest to Camino.
Right. So it's a lookout.
Yeah.
They're scanning,
so that's why
they're scanning the skies. They're scanning space to find, if any enemy ship activity.
They headed that
fucking
way. Yeah.
Turn off a signal, which is weird because like usually if something happens, like an alarm goes on, but this is like an all clear alarm that's always on.
Yeah, I didn't
if something
understand
happens,
that either.
then they turn it off. But I guess that does make a little bit of sense, considering something that comes up later. So I'm gonna move away from that.
Yeah, we'll get to it a little bit later. I definitely have more questioning for that. But yeah, let's just move on. So next, we're kind of hanging out with Grievous for a second, yeah?
Yes, and Grievous or one of the droids talks about I think it's one of the droids. Nope, I think it's Grievous says the information that we got from our spy on Camino is correct.
Yeah,
so
Grievous says that, yeah.
So how the fuck is Ventress? It's Ventress, by the way. Ventress is the spy.
Yeah. How
is she a spy on Camino? Like, is she posing as a bounty hunter and training? Because there's 3 types of people on Camino. There's bounty hunters training, I guess 4. There's bounty hunters training the clones, right? Mm-hmm. There are Jedi, which I think both of those are going to be pretty easily identified. There are clones, which all fucking look alike.
Yeah.
And there are Kaminoans who don't look like Ventress. So she should stick out like a sore thumb. Like, is she dressed up like a clone?
Or is she just pretending to be a bounty hunter?
Is she wearing like a Tamora Morrison fucking mask?
Are we sure it's Ventress or is it Palpatine feeding over information?
I think that Grievous calls out her by name.
Because this is the part that confused me too.
By name.
Because this part confuses me too, because Asajj coincidentally calls in. They don't call her.
Right.
So by them not calling her, I didn't make the explicit connection that it was her, because anytime a spy is involved, basically I'm just assuming it's Palpatine unless otherwise noted, right?
Correct.
So
yeah, definitely leaks of information and all that jazz. Like that's
definitely
secret or secret informant. Like Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine.
Chief, fucking Emperor, Sidious, whatever you want to call him.
The Senate.
Not yet.
Yeah. So, because I even it's a small detail, but I rewound it a couple times too, just to make sure it's her calling in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like she pops up. So it's weird that just by coincidence she calls in. She's like, "We're ready on Camino." That's my Ventress impersonation.
It sounds really, really good.
Basically, that's what it is. Like, hey, we're waiting here for you guys. Why aren't you guys here yet invading stuff? So,
your Ventress sounds very similar to your battle droid. by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why I gave him that accent, but yep. So I have like 3 accents, and that's it. That's gonna be one of them.
Sweet.
So, but anyways, everything with that is just like hey, we just need this to happen, so we're just gonna make it happen, even if there's no explanation for it. Ventress is calling in, and she's already there. Okay, great.
Yeah, it was silly to include her. I don't even think Grievous really needed to be included in this episode, to be honest. Like, we do have these intriguing commando droids.
Yes.
Who come in. They're innovative, as we will see, because Cody and Rex try to give a call to the base.
Yeah.
And be like, yo, dudes, we're on the way. And, of course, it's just a bunch of fucking commando droids. And one of them, like, grabs its throat and is kind of doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's doing this, it's talking, and its voice changes into that typical clone voice, right?
Yeah.
So then it picks up a helmet from one of the dead clone troopers and fucking pops its helmet on.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's talking to Cody and Rex.
Yep.
And as they end their conversation, because they're like, hey, we're coming for an inspection, and the droid is trying to say, like, no, we're all good. We're all fine here. No need to come. Don't worry. Don't come for an inspection. And they're like, no, we're coming, so be ready. And in the clone voice, the droid says, Roger, Roger.
Mm-hmm.
And then hangs up. So Cody and Rex are like, yeah, we don't fucking know about that.
Yeah, like something feels off for sure. You know,
so
that's not how any clone talks, essentially.
Right. So at this point, we are going to be cutting back and forth between our rookies and Cody and Rex.
Yeah.
That's the 2 storylines that we're going to be following essentially for the rest of this episode.
Second, there's another cutaway.
Okay.
We'll get to it, and because I this is kind of when I bring up more stuff. But so anyways, Rex and Cody then land for the inspection. A droid meets them, but actually no, sorry, I skipped over something. So the 4 clones are outside the base.
Yep, they climb out a tunnel.
Yep. And they're walking around the cliffs.
Yep.
And then one of them starts bringing up like regulations about how they're not supposed to be outside the base.
That would be Echo.
Yeah. So he's talking about that, which is dumb because the only reason they're outside is because they were going to get shot by droids if they stayed inside.
Correct.
So he's like complaining. He's like, we're not supposed to be out here. And then one of them is like, well, what's there to worry about out here? And then one of the guys is like, eels. And then they're all like,
weird space eels.
Yeah. Because they're like, there's no such thing as eels on this moon or whatever. And then sure enough, as soon as they say that, like an eel pops out of a cave and totally just chomps down on one of the clones, who turns out to be cut up. Yep. They're like, cut up, look out. And then this is when the cursing happens, by the way. This is when they start shooting at the eel. The eel just retreats, doesn't die or anything, but cut up is definitely
eats cut up and runs away and back
gets
in
out
a
of
hole.
there. Yep.
Gone.
And then one of the clones, I did not know which one, but it's definitely whoever was leading the pack, says, what the hell is that? You know? Yep. But I got no information on which clone that was. I watched that scene a couple of times and got nothing.
So I can tell you it's either Echo, Fives, or Heavy.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that because that's the only 3 clones
only ones left.
I'm going to say that it's not Echo, because Echo is the one that has been reading these fucking regulation manuals, and Echo's the one that would sit down and read all of Wikipedia, like all 71,852 articles or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, like if he got his hands on a holocron, it would be fully absorbed within a couple of days. Like
correct. Yeah. I don't think it was Heavy, because do they have any weaponry?
Yeah, light weaponry. I think because he.
So we.
No, he does. He has his big gun.
Okay.
Because they shot at the eel.
Uh-huh.
With little pistols at the very least.
Uh-huh.
So one of them, I don't know who, gets a few pistol shots off at the eel. The eel then retreats.
So I'm going to say that
cave.
that is heavy.
Yeah.
So if that's the same trooper that says, what the hell was that, then it's heavy. If it's not, then it was 5s.
Okay. I still can. All I know is it was the one furthest left on screen, the one that was in front as they were walking.
I believe that's 5s.
Okay. So that
I think it was 5s, heavy, echo, cut up.
Cut up. Yep. Cut up for sure, end of the line, because he dead.
He gone.
He dead. So anyways, now then we cut back to Rex and Cody, which is where I jumped in my notes.
Yep.
They land for inspection.
Yep.
A droid puts on a clone outfit, comes out to meet them.
Yep.
And he's very robotically, but you can tell he's trying to not be robotic because he's gesticulating too much. You know, there's a lot of arm motions where he's like, no, we're totally A-okay. You do not have to worry about us, hands in the air with every single syllable that's moving.
I am not an animatronic.
Yeah. I have all the human feelings, not robot feelings, like a robot. like
a robot would have. I have human feelings like a clone would have.
Yes, exactly. So that happens, and then a flare goes up from the side of the cliff.
Yes, so our 3 remaining clones fire off what I thought was just like a distress flare.
Yeah.
But Rex sees it and says that that's a droid invasion flare. So I guess they have a bunch of different flares. I don't know.
I don't think that's
it's a fucking warning flare.
It's a normal red flare, essentially, that shoots up. It's the flare that somebody would have shot like on the Titanic, like, but red. You know?
Right.
Like, you know?
So Rex just reaches up and fucking gun to the forehead of what looks like another clone, pulls the trigger.
Yep. And then Cody is like, what did you do?
What the fuck?
Yeah. What the fuck did you do? And then Rex kneels over, pops the helmet off. There's a droid inside.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, commando droids. I fucking hate these guys. One of those things.
So they start walking in, and then I had like a side note that Rex and Cody start recounting a story about T'Brin.
I also have a side note, but please continue.
But I didn't take the note to who said what. One pronounces it T'Brin, and then the other is like Tibrin. It's like the slightest of differences, but it still was enough for me to be like, well, which one is it? Like, what the fuck are you saying?
So I think the reason that my note is the exact same. Apparently there's 2 ways to pronounce T'Brin. It's like Tibrin and T'Brin. Like the accent is on a different syllable.
Yeah. There's only 2, so you only have the 2 emphases that you could pick. You know, like
right. They put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, like one of them did.
Yeah.
Which is not an original joke by me. I stole that off of some movie pilot from like the late 90s or something.
That's Austin Powers.
Is it?
I believe. Yeah.
There we go. I knew I had heard it before.
That's Austin Powers.
I'll have to something with Michael Myers in it for sure.
Yeah, Austin Powers sounds right.
Maybe the second one.
I have seen those movies inside and out, and right now I'm struggling to remember which one that would have been from.
I have
them on Blu-ray and everything.
The second one.
Yeah.
Lorenzo will report back to you on that. But I think that the reason that they did this, because I brought it up on what episode was that? Supply Lines, when we were on Ryloth with the Twi'lek.
Oh yeah,
that might have been Ambush, but either way. No, it was Supply Lines for sure.
Because that's the one with what's his face Syndulla, Cham Syndulla.
Yes.
So we were trying to figure out if it was Twi'lek.
Like, is it Twi'lek? Is it Twi'lek? Is it Twi'lek? Is it Tabrin or is it Tibrin? Is it Leia or is it Leia? Is it Han or is it Han? And I think that this is just kind of a way of saying, fucking, these are weird alien fucking made up names.
Yeah.
Pronounce them how you want. Like, even
and they all have
even
their own
in universe,
weird...
these are fucking clones that have all of the same intelligence, upbringing, training, everything, and these guys are pronouncing things differently. So I think it's just a get out of jail free card of when things are pronounced wrong.
See, it just throws me off because when it comes to the clones, like their upbringing shouldn't be that different. I get from like planet to planet.
Okay.
You know, like like the difference between like a Boston accent and a Californian accent, right?
Okay. Hold that thought for a second.
Yeah.
Have you ever known twins?
Yes.
Have you ever known identical twins?
Yes.
So identical twins have identical DNA, right?
Yep.
So they are essentially, they are human-made clones of each other.
Yeah.
So these guys, all of these clones, Cody, Rex, are less identical twins than identical twins are. Because the clones are made in different batches with potentially different
sequencing that happens in
different
the mix,
sequencing
in the baking.
It may be a different segment of DNA that is used to clone these guys with different methods of cloning. Yeah. So even though they are clones, there is a bit of variation to them that I feel is going to be more variation than you see in identical clones who have identical DNA, who are usually raised by the same parents in the same household with the same rules and the same upbringing, and yet they will have variations between the two of them, right?
No. See, I understand that part. The part that bothers me is you take 100 people from Boston of all different walks of life.
Okay.
Right? They're all going to have a similar accent.
They are all going to be wicked smart.
Yeah. We're going to go get some clam chowder and some lobster roll and go to Fenway Park. Right?
Right.
Whereas you go to, just Chicago, basic Midwest accent. Yeah? Not the Bears, but so you get a large group of
Chicago
people.
Still got a little bit of an accent going on.
Yeah, it's definitely got Chicago, because I know I pronounce it Chicago, because Chicago just a little bit, because I'm from Michigan, right? But it's still like a fairly standard accent compared to, say, Boston or say like Louisiana,
right?
Tennessee, Georgia, yeah.
Correct.
But nonetheless, the fact that we can geographically tie off these accents
right
says a lot right there, right? So why is it that clones that were raised in similar conditions on the same planet have issues with accents differing from one another?
I feel like, okay, so for one, I feel like it's less an accent and more of a pronunciation.
Yeah.
I guess the generic analogy would be like tomato, even though I've never actually heard somebody pronounce tomato.
A tomato is a tomato, yeah.
Correct.
Like, no, you never gone into a restaurant and heard somebody, would you like potatoes with that?
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Like I do want to hear from somebody if you have, just to know that just one confirmation that somebody just walked up to you.
Right.
Like, what kind of potatoes do you want with that? Mashed potatoes,
fried potatoes.
Yeah.
French fried potatoes.
I would need that server switched immediately.
Potato cakes.
I'm gonna switch tables. Good sir or madam, whoever is helping me. I don't trust that. But anyways, continue on.
Second point.
Yes.
Where do accents come from?
Regional upbringing.
Okay.
It's not because think about this. Like, my parents were born in Vietnam. I was born in Michigan.
Right.
I don't have their accent. Right?
That is, yes. That's
So-
very true. So I guess that totally shoots down my, what I thought might have been my point is that
Yeah, with the genetics
so
thing,
all of
yeah.
these clones have like the same accent of Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
When I don't know that they should. Like, maybe they should have the same...
They should have the accents of the Kaminoans or whoever seem like we.
Right, or Ellis, or Brick, or...
Yeah. But even then, Brick doesn't. The bounty hunters don't get involved until they're in training. We need to
combat
see.
training. Right.
Yeah, we need to see who is like when they're in toddler stage.
Uh-huh.
Like who's the nanny that's like taking care of them, right?
Which I would assume is some sort of person from Kaminoan, right? Kaminoan?
Yeah, I would say Kaminoan. Yeah.
So I'm doing the same thing with Beans from Camino as these two guys are doing with Tibrin. But so I would assume it's Kaminoan. Or my second guess is that we've got like some Spider-Man Homecoming Captain America shit going on, where Jango Fett has done a whole bunch of instructional videos.
But
so Jango Fett is fucking standing there with like his helmet up, like, like his armor on, helmet off, like, good morning. I can't do a fucking Tamora Morrison accent, but like, hello, Kiwis, good morning, mates. It's time to get up and eat your oats or something.
No. But again, you're thinking too old. You have to be thinking of like
Even before that,
when they're being bottle fed, right?
right?
Unless like a Kaminoan is like full blown titties out feeding these clones,
Which they may be.
But
we
either
did
way,
see that
so
one overly breasted Kaminoan, so
just the term overly breasted is just so ridiculous.
the question is, do they have to like?
Is there like
clone-
a wet
there like
nurse Kaminoan
Yeah,
that
that's what I was getting at.
because like there's no like look, you have a baby, it doesn't mean hopefully if you're a somewhat decent parent, it's not like they're picking up Dora the Explorer's accent, right? Like,
Okay.
you get what I'm saying? Like,
I
the
do.
exposure to Dora is only so much that the accent that's going to get picked up is...
Yeah, but when you have 200,000 fucking kids at a time, you may need to put Dora on.
Which is fine, but for how long, right? And then the rest of accents that are going to get picked up is going to be from then the early schooling, like whatever Camino preschool is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something they're literate. We're aware of this. They can read screens.
Correct. When they
So-
occasionally have some type of information on the screen other than just fucking nondescript buttons
Just
with
yeah,
nothing
or
on
just
them.
watching security cams that they have to manually bring up.
Right.
So there has to be some sort of accelerated standard schooling.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah.
I think that they initially cloned like one clone. So it was like Django hanging out with one clone.
Yeah.
And then there was like two clones. So it's Django hanging out with like three clones. And then they cloned like three of them. And so it's like Django with like six. So he's teaching these, I think through like preschool age and shit, they're in a fucking tube. Like they come out of the tube, able to wipe their own fucking ass.
Yeah.
Can feed themselves, ready to do fucking 50 push-ups in a row, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So at that
Like
point,
are able to walk, there's no learning period there. There's no like crawling period.
Right. It's like a fucking giraffe. You're crapped out from fucking 10 feet up. You hit the ground running.
45 seconds later, they're kind of shaky, but they're running.
Right, but they're up. Okay. We see in Attack of the Clones that there is definitely some computer training going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that maybe initially the first small batch of clones, when they got to this point where they were outside of the test tube and able to start their communication skills, Jango was there. So they got their accent from Jango. Right?
Yeah.
These clones passed their accent along to the other clones through verbal communication.
It just kept growing from there.
It just kept going.
It kept spreading, yeah.
So if anything, the first generation clones should have like a light accent of Jango, and by fucking 40th generation or whatever generation of clones are on, it should be cartoonish and exaggerated and just kaleidoscoped out of control, because each time it's getting a little bit more dramatic.
Uh-huh. So at some point they're going to get like Flight of the Conchords accents? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yes.
Like we're going to go like down the full Moana route? Like,
right.
We're getting Tomatoa accents going?
Yes.
Do you have any idea? Have you seen Moana? Okay.
I have not.
Because it's all French Polynesian. And, because the Moana's dad is voiced by Jango Fett. So.
Really?
He doesn't do the singing voice, but he does the speaking voice. Yeah, it's definitely him. Yeah, so he plays Moana's dad. He's a Disney king now, so. But anyway, so
in more than one way.
Yeah. So this is a long tangent on accents, but yeah.
Yeah, that's been going on for a while. How about that?
Yeah, but that is a good thing to kind of think about, like in terms of the overarching universe of where the hell do these accents come from, you know? Because then you notice too, like, just to kind of open it up one more step, and then we'll try and wrap up the accent conversation. But you know, I know the real world story of why the accent changes, but Princess Leia in A New Hope has an accent that shifts within that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Such as when she's talking to Tarkin right before they test out the Death Star on Alderaan. You know, she puts on this British accent where I thought I noticed your foul stench on board. You know?
So, in Attack of the Clones, apparently, they were going to kind of address this because in The Phantom Menace, Queen Amidala does the same thing. Like, when she's queen, she's like, got that super dry fucking, I guess you can call it an accent thing going on.
Yeah.
And then when she's just Padme, she's got a little bit more energy to her dialogue. Yeah. Right.
Hey,
and
Annie.
Right. And it's not just the difference of the handmaidens filling in for her.
Mm-hmm.
So it was extrapolated upon, or it would have been in Attack of the Clones and Beyond, when Jar Jar's character was going to be a larger portion of, or have a larger screen presence, right?
Yeah.
And apparently in between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, Jar Jar would have gone through some sort of senatorial training in which he would have learned what was called Diplospeak.
Yeah.
And so what this would have done is taken Jar Jar from the, ooh, muy, very excited to see you, sir, to have a calm, direct, to the point, less accented form of dialogue to be able to communicate in a more diplomatic,
some sort of governmental manner.
Correct. And
Misa
so
thought
that
me
is,
smelled you stench on board. Like,
and so that is supposed to match. It's supposed to kind of bridge the gap and bring things together. So it's almost like a retcon explanation. But I think that even George Lucas had told Carrie Fisher. I'll just call her Carrie. Miss Fisher, whichever. You know who I'm talking about, Princess Leia. That when Leia is in these more, for lack of a better term, diplomatic roles, like she's got a different presence, a different voice that comes out.
No. Here is the explanation I have heard from her mouth herself. I went to go see her one lady show in Chicago. Wishful Drinking.
Right.
She wrote the book, then did a show about it.
Right.
She has an entire section in that show talking about this.
Does it have to do with drugs?
No. Okay. This one was the one rare part of the show that did not deal with drugs or being bipolar or having crazy Hollywood parents.
Or having sex with everyone.
Literally everybody. Or her parents having sex with literally everybody except each other.
Right.
But she talked about how she was staying in London for school at the time, because she was very young at the time of making those movies and getting casted and all that. So she had done a few scenes where she had her normal accent, and then she spent some time in London, and they were filming there too and all this stuff, but she kind of got used to the London accent because she was going to school there and she was trying her best to fit in. So then it just kind of stuck with her on the day of when they happened to be filming that scene. To her, she didn't even really notice she was doing it, but there it is, and there it will be forever.
Now, did it have anything to do with the fact that she was face to face with Tarkin?
I don't. From her viewpoint, it just seems that she just was in the London mode.
Okay.
That's from her explanation. She didn't mention anything about being face to face with his name is blank from my head right now.
Peter Cushing.
Really bad. Peter Cushing. God
I did the same thing. That's why I called him Tarkin the first time.
Yeah,
and then
I knew, and I was really trying to recover. I was really trying to recover, and it was not coming.
We got it.
But
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing.
Because man, we're fucking stuck on this, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a country concert?
Me? No.
Okay. I have been.
Yeah.
I stuck out like a sore thumb in my attire, in my presentation of my human beingness and whatnot.
But I would stand out just on the basis that I am Asian.
Right. Yes.
So for you to stand out, yes, is also. I'm sure.
This was years ago when I was a little bit more aggressively punk rock than I am now, because now I'm much older and then I was much younger.
So just out of curiosity, what concert was this?
This was Alabama and Charlie Daniels Band.
All right.
And I attended with a friend. So everybody's there in late 90s skinny jeans, which were really just the end of
they're because in the late 90s we were still talking about Jinko pants, if you remember those.
I do, but and these were the opposite end of that spectrum, where they're just boot cut tight leg Wranglers. There were no skinny jeans were not a thing. No. These were just jeans that
they held
wore
closer
with their cowboy boots.
Yep.
To concerts such as this. So
the 90s version of the bell bottom essentially was the boot cut jean. Yeah.
Right. So my point is that sometimes when you're around a bunch of people that are talking in a twangy voice, like this is super stereotypical, but it happens to be true. Like if you were to hang out with people that have a different accent than you, sometimes you pick up that accent. I don't remember where I was going with this. Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia. So I didn't know if it had to do with that. So it sounds like there's like a whole bunch of explanations of all of this. Yeah. And it also sounds like at some point in time, George Lucas took the extra time to try to over-explain
to
why those things happen.
Into it.
And considering George Lucas is part of these Clone Wars adventures, I would not put it past him to say, hey, Dave Filoni, when you have these clones talking, I want you to have them just go ahead and pronounce the name of that planet like 2 different ways, and that's gonna let our viewers know that when Leia talks to Tarkin back in 77, that she actually had, a different accent while she was doing those things, because she was being more professional. So just go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that does sound like something Lucas would try and retcon himself to fix that matter. So,
and then pretend like all of it was planned out in advance.
Which, hell no. Anyway, so that is our accent conversation for now.
Correct.
Any last notes on accents before we get on out of here?
No, I think that's it for now.
Yep.
Okay.
My last note is, having moved from Michigan to here, I have changed words, I will say, but I still get picked on for my accent. So that is a thing that still happens. So.
And being a fellow Midwesterner, I do not think that you have a strong accent.
Nope.
You've got a slightly northern Midwestern accent, but not as far as a Minnesotan might.
No, yeah, I know for sure there's a few pronunciations of certain words that for whatever reason my parents don't say it this way. Somewhere along the line I picked up the Canadian pronunciations of...
That's just that northern Midwestern thing.
Yeah. So just a few words here and there, but otherwise I feel like I have a neutral accent, but it's different enough for most Californians that certain things stand out to fellow Californians out this way. But, Michigan, we used to say pop. I definitely say soda now. So soda is a thing. Yeah. So
it's definitely soda.
So that's all. That's my last bit there. So moving on.
Do you guys have sunbonnets in California?
Big hats? Is that what you're talking?
I'm just setting you up for my next note here.
Oh, move it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Get on it.
So we're gonna have to breeze through some of this shit, but that's just the way that it's gonna have to be.
Honestly, I don't have much notes after this.
I have like 8 pages.
I think I'll explain why I don't have as many notes, but go ahead. So,
brief breakdown of what happens over the next 5 or 10 minutes. The briefest that I can be, briefest of brief.
Do you want me to do it since I have very few notes? You want me to do a speed run? Here's what I got. So, Rex and Cody kill a droid. We cut back to Yularen, Obi-Wan, Anakin. They're freaking out because they're not getting... Or Yularen's getting freaked out because there's no contact from the Rishi base.
Yes, can you pause there?
Yes.
Okay,
ahead.
2 comments. Yeah. Rex and Cody do run into our other 3 clones.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got fucking blasters drawn. So they were kind of blown off the landing platform with some thermal detonators.
Some grenades. And
right. Yep. The reason I brought up the thing about sunbonnets is because Rex or Cody is like, hey, take your, fucking freeze, stop moving, take your sunbonnets off, which I thought was a weird term for their helmets.
Oh, yeah.
You talking about how Yarn is freaking out takes me all the way back to Cat and Mouse, when I think I described him as an obnoxious dolt, where he's just like a dude that's fucking run around with his hands up all the time. So that kind of brings us full circle back to the way that we met him. Please continue.
All right, so they mentioned no contact. Obi-Wan and Anakin, however, are like, that's odd, but the all clear signal's still going. So then they're like, well, since that's still going, they're probably busy. We're going to go focus on finding Grievous. Great. So they walk away from this very apparent problem that we have.
Right.
So, yeah, Rex and team re-infiltrate the base. They go back in. There's a few fights that happen. I made a side note here. I won't say too much because I think I've already beaten into this in the last handful of episodes, but this one stands out because they're all in helmets, but the fight animations of like body movements are very, very, very stiff in terms of like punch goes from here to here, leg goes from here to here, and then like when one even throws like a droid down, it's like a very like position A, 2 seconds position B, like.
As Lorenzo was going through this, he was pantomiming some punches that to me were kind of reminiscent of Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh, completely. Yes.
They move quick enough where it's like elbow bent, wrist up, fist clenched to like straight arm.
Yeah.
Make connection.
Yeah. Like the motions are being taught, but the robot hasn't like gotten the nuances yet, you know.
Correct.
So
I would like to add one thing to your speed run of the rest of the episode. The way that these clones break back in is they do a reverse of what the commando droids did to Cody and Rex.
Yeah.
Where the commando droids were pretending to be a clone. Like they walk up and pretend to be a commando droid. Where I think it's Rex walks up and hits like the visual doorbell where that little fucking droid ball on a stick like pops out of the door and is blinking at it, and it's like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm a droid, like let me in. And they're like, you don't sound like a droid. And he was like, really? Roger, Roger. And they're like, we're pretty well convinced, but show us your face.
Yeah, they're like, that checks out, yeah.
So then he just like ducks and like holds up a fucking droid head, and they're like, that totally works. This is how they get back in.
That all checks out.
Moving forward from here, like reinforcements show up, because Grievous shows up, right? The Separatist fleet's there. They send reinforcements.
So they all show up. Yep.
At this
like
point, for some reason, the entire docking platform is clear, and like one of those giant double H-shaped craft that we saw from the Battle of Naboo, like way back in the Phantom Menace, lands.
Yep.
The scale doesn't fucking work out on this. I don't know, whatever.
Not at all.
Doesn't matter. No. We get like a couple waves of droids coming out.
Yeah.
At this point,
yeah. Because speaking of scale, just really quick, I noticed that too because it didn't make the platform look big, it made the ship look small.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And it was the same thing with the blockade runner back in back in supply lines.
Yeah.
When Bail Organa lands on Toydaria. Like, same thing happens. Somehow, sometimes they can take like a little thing and make it look gigantic. And sometimes they take something that already is gigantic, looks gigantic, and then it
looks super small. Like it looked like a normal like sedan almost. Like
right. It didn't
like a sedan
look
speeder,
too much.
like
it looked like twice as big as the ship that fucking Rex and Cody showed up in, which was like a 2-man fighter.
Exactly.
But this thing is supposed to have like thousands of fucking droids on it.
Yeah. It looked like a biplane essentially. So
correct.
Yeah, like a World War I Red Baron biplane.
Right. So as this is going on, we've got these droids, these new wave of just regular battle droids coming in. So Cody Rex and his crew are inside taking out the fucking commando droids.
Yep.
They figure out that the all clear signal is like hardwired, and they're debating on what to do with it. So their defense strategy is to blow the fucking base up.
Yep. Because
And
then
at
it'll
this
just
point,
end the signal.
Right.
So even if it's not sending a distress signal, the fact that the all clear is stopping should
Right.
send a signal of sorts.
like correct, because the rookies are like, no, we can't do that because our job is to defend this base.
Yeah.
And Cody and Rex are like, no, shinies, like, you don't get it. That's exactly what we need to do, because when we do blow it up, our good guy buddies are going to get the signal that the fucking base is blown up. So then at that point, they'll come here to try to figure out what's going on. Like, that's the only way for us to fucking accomplish our mission is by sabotaging our mission.
To inform the rest of the crew that there's shit
to
going
get the
down
help
here.
that we need, because if we don't do that, we're fucking 5 guys against an army trying to defend all of our buddies back home, and they get the lecture of our home is Camino, like we're
like we can't let that fall, blah blah blah.
we're not a natural family, like we're an artificial family from an artificial world, blah blah blah, but this is the best thing that we got. So at this point, we've got a wave of droids coming in. We got a couple of clones that go down to redefend the door, while there's another droid or another clone rigging up the fucking explosives. They're using explosive Tabana gas, which comes from Cloud City, right? That's what Cloud City is mining, is Tabana,
so they have that,
I think. So
because they're like, how is this place heated? And they bring that up or something like that. So I'm like,
right,
okay,
they bring up
cool.
these 3 plonk droids and they fucking duct tape them together, and then they put this detonator on it that is later, I think it's Fives is working on it. It's either Fives or Heavy is working on it. And
no, I think Fives is working on it. So Fives is working on it. The remote isn't syncing to the detonator.
Right.
So then Heavy is like, what's going on? And Fives is like, hey, this isn't working. Can you take a look at it? Because I guess Heavy would know how to fix that.
Yeah, Heavy's like, hey, give it to me, I'll fucking fix it. Like, you guys take off. They escape through the same fucking tunnel. And at this point, it is Heavy with the tablet trying to sync 2 tablets together, which is an infuriating fucking thing.
Yeah.
When shit's
not
all
working. All it is like there's a green arrow and a red arrow, and green arrow's going on the detonator, red arrow on the detonating side, I guess, of the remote detonator thingy.
Yeah, they just call the handheld part a handset, and I think they call the other one the detonator.
The detonator, okay.
So on both of them, there's 2 lines of text in Arabish. The top line says ATTE rules, with a 3 instead of an E and a Z in front of an S instead of an S. So it's literally like ATTE's rule. And then the second line says, any guesses?
No.
Some text. That's it. Some text.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they were typing this in and they're like, I don't know, what should the second line be? Like, I don't know, dude. Just like, it just needs to say something. Like, put some text in the fucking thing.
So somebody
and we'll go back and change
it
later. And they put SOMETXT in Arabish.
They couldn't even put like a lorem ipsum thing in there. Like,
nope. It says some text.
Okay.
So, most of our clones are escaping.
Yeah.
Going back out this escape hatch.
Heavy's behind.
Heavy is behind. They get all the way outside and realize that Heavy isn't there.
Yeah.
So then they're trying to communicate with Heavy via like risk communicator. That's not fucking working.
They run in.
They try to start running back up to it. And Heavy is trying to fucking blast as many droids as possible.
Yep.
I think he finally talks to Rex and he's like, the thing doesn't work. I got to do it manually. Like, get out.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
So, long story short, in the end, he's overtaken by fucking droids.
Yep.
As he's reaching up to, like, try to push the button, shot down, presumed dead. We cut away to a couple of little side things real quick, like, come back to him. I don't know if you noticed this, but at this point, like, the music shuts down. There is some background noise going on, but it's essentially silent. And then you just hear Heavy's heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. And that's all that you get for this, like, dramatic thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is taking the last bit of life that he's got in him and reaches up, hits that button, and blows the base.
Yep. So all the droids go away. The signal gets cut off.
Yep. And at this point,
Yularen,
Annie and Obi-Wan, amongst their bickering, get the message that, like, the all-clear signal's down. Like, something's going on. So they jump over there with their good guy Star Destroyers. And Grievous literally goes, oh, shit. Like, somebody's here to fucking shoot at us. Let's run away.
Let's get out of here, even though we have all these things. Well, because, like, Grievous is like, there's more of them than there is of us, or something like that. Like, he's like, we're outnumbered. We can't stay here.
Right. There's, like, 3 or 4 good guy Star Destroyers, and there's, like, 4 or 5. Like, it...
Yeah, it didn't... No, none of that made any sense to me.
This is why Grievous should not fucking be in this episode at all.
Yeah. So Grievous essentially does nothing. I will also say that the Jedi side of things also basically don't do anything. Like,
right.
There's no reason. Yeah, there's no reason to visit them.
Commanding officers.
Yeah,
should not be in this episode.
Yeah, we should have only. There's no tension essentially when you keep cutting back to the Jedi. Like, I don't feel trapped with the clones when we keep cutting back to the outside world. Like, if we just stuck with the clones that were stuck, like the 2 storylines that we got branched off between Rex Cody / what were they? Not Shadow Squadron. The whatever the Clone Cadet Squadron was.
Delta.
I don't remember what their actual weird squadron name was, but
give me 1 second, and I'll tell you.
But anyways, yeah, there's the way this episode was presented. That part frustrated me, but not as much as trying to figure out why there's even a way to consistently have an all clear signal blasting out. Why isn't that something that should be like an every 10 minutes they have to report within like a 60-second range, you know?
Yeah, like it's gonna ping, and then when you don't hear the ping, then you know something's wrong.
Yeah, because like the dude is like watching the monitor. Why not just force him to like every 5 minutes just push a button to send that all clear, you know? And then if 5 minutes goes by, then and there's no ping, and like maybe give it like a 5-minute leeway or something like that, then like, hey, maybe shit's going down. But it just gets frustrating because when we do cut back to the commanding officers of Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yularen, they even bring up in one of the scenes we kind of like shuffled past in this discussion, Yularen is like, yeah, we haven't heard from them in hours, but we're getting the all clear. You know?
Right, so we're getting this constant signal that says everything's okay, even though nobody's fucking answering.
Yeah, so then this is the part where, like, Obi-Wan and Anakin's like, well, we're getting the all clear, we're going to go focus on Grievous. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? We haven't heard from the base for hours, and you guys are just chill with that? Like, what are you guys thinking right now? Right. If you have a base full of clones and none of them are getting to you, like, maybe check it out. I don't know. Like, hours? Maybe if it was like, hey, it bothers me that Yularen says hours, where even if he said, hey, we haven't heard from them in 30 minutes, that would be concerning, right? Like,
yeah, your comment that, every 5 minutes the dude needs to hit the fucking button or something,
yeah,
totally works.
Yeah.
And it could absolutely work like flawlessly in this story. I know you didn't watch Lost, but so in Lost there's a character that's in this fucking enclosed hatch, and like every 60 minutes or 58 minutes or something, he's got to type this code in on the computer, and over several episodes, like, you learn that how does this fucking work? He got tricked into fucking taking over this job by somebody else, maybe? I don't remember exactly. But, so basically, he doesn't really know exactly why he needs to type this fucking thing in.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't, there's like an alarm that goes off. And that's enough to fucking scare him into fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys have a legit reason that they need to do this thing.
Yeah,
But
and just declare everybody safe.
Instead,
Yeah.
that is just replaced with a quote-unquote all-clear signal.
Yeah, especially when this is the base that is the lookout for Camino.
Right.
There has to be a lot better safety checks than a fucking resentful clone that doesn't want to be there.
Right. I can equate this to the old, like, Firewatch towers that are
exactly.
in like forests, national forest or whatever. And it's as though you got a fucking the ranger has like a flashlight.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I'm gonna turn this flashlight on, and I'm just gonna leave the flashlight on when everything's good, but when it's not good, I'll turn the flashlight off.
Yeah.
This is backwards of, say, radioing for help or shooting a fucking flare, which probably wouldn't help in a wildfire if you're going to shoot
even just
like
having
a
like some
fire
sort of
projectile.
like some sort of Morse code signal, right? Like,
Right.
like, hey, I'm just
Morse
gonna
code.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep sending you a Morse code signal nonstop, and then if you hear a different signal, like, no, that's how you go fucking crazy. Like,
Right. Beep, 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 beep. It's okay. Beep, 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 beep. It's okay. Beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep, beep. It's okay.
yeah, exactly. So this plot point was just very infuriatingly contrived to me.
So there is one more thing that happens. We can wrap
Yes.
this up. We can get to our final thumbs up, thumbs down,
Yeah.
which we've been bleeding over into this entire episode. But so there are 2 clones that come out of our original 5 from Clone Cadets.
Yep.
In this episode, we see Echo, we see Heavy, we see Fives, we see Cut Up very briefly, and he just gets eaten, right? The only other one is Droid Bait out of the original 5, which I did not see named or mentioned in this episode.
Nope. I couldn't tell you. Like, that is a name that has already disappeared from my mind, so you're bringing it back up, and nope, definitely not in this episode.
So here's my opinion on that. They needed 5 guys in this group. So Clone Cadets was made after this episode, right?
Yeah.
Aired after this episode, produced after this episode. Chronologically, it's before. It was one of the prequel, or it was one of the big time jumps that we did, where it's season 3, episode 1, but it actually took place like right after the movie. Right? So I think they needed 5 guys that were quote unquote from this episode. Like, they had Cut Up, they had Heavy, they had Echo, they had Fives, and they wanted to talk about these dudes. And I guess they wanted to add a 5th. I don't fucking know. So what happens in this episode is most of the most of the clones get killed by droids. Droid bait. There you go. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just retcon this guy's name as droid bait. Anyway, the only two that we have left are Echo and Fives.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only two that we have left of our original 5.
Mm-hmm.
Echo, Fives, Rex, Cody are picked up by a couple of Republic gunships / LATs / hopefully there was some fucking ship that dropped them off in the atmosphere because that's the way they work. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know why a moon would have an atmosphere anyway. Anyway, they're picked up. They're taken back to the good guy Star Destroyers. And the last thing that we see is Cody and Rex talking to them. And Echo and Fives are like... Or Cody's like, hey, great job today. You guys did fucking awesome. And, like, pin some medals on them. And Echo and Fives are like, no, we didn't do awesome. We failed. And they're like, no, you did exactly what you needed to do. Like, you didn't... In that instance, you didn't need to defend the base. You needed to fucking defend what the base was defending. Like,
yeah.
That was your job.
Camino's the big picture. Like,
right. You're looking small picture, look big picture. That's why you succeeded. You didn't fail. So
Camino's
Rex...
big picture, guys. Like,
right. So Rex says, essentially, like, I learned something from you today. I learned that you guys are exactly what I'm looking for to be in the 501st.
mm-hmm.
Which is like the... supposedly like elite of the elite, right?
Yep.
So they get, I guess, inducted into the 501st. So good for them. This is the end of the episode. We hit credits at this point. So
one last thing I want to bring up that makes no fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan and Anakin give them medals. The medals get pinned to their chest with armor.
Right.
What the fuck are they getting pinned into?
It's not actually a pin. You see the back of these pins have like a small coating of a plastic-like material that acts the same way that like gecko feet work, where they can scale glass, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of like that. Where they
so
can
it's a 3M command strip that he just kind of post-it noted onto their...
Yes. That would be the generic version.
So, yeah, they just command strip, pulled the sticker back off, and just stuck it on.
Yes. Or magnets. Or...
Yeah, magnets would be what I would think, but again, there's nothing under that armor that...
You don't know that. You haven't worn some fucking...
They're not wearing chainmail under that, like...
No, they've got some metal in there, and or it was done with the Force. That could be it too.
Obi-Wan and Annie are just holding that on as they walk away.
As soon as Anakin walks away, they're just like...
Just clinks
like,
to the ground.
And he's like, fucking suckers.
Yeah.
Stupid shinies.
Because it makes like a weird... like, there's a noise of the metal hitting the plastic armor that happens too. It makes like a hollow like tunk sound.
Uh-huh.
And I was assuming that was just the hanging metal hitting it, but it happens like right as soon as whatever adhesion occurs. But it was still just one of those like, okay, we're this far in. What, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. But anyway, so that was just the one thing I had that made no fucking sense to me. So anyways, conclusion,
thumbs up, thumbs down, what you got?
This is a strong thumbs down.
I felt that one come in
such
an
a
hour
strong
ago.
Oh yeah, such a strong thumbs down. Like there are not it wasn't like god awful, but it was just pretty bad. You know, if we're gonna throw it on this gray scale from good to bad, you know, it's deep in bad territory. So
do you want to throw anything else specifically in there before I give you my thumbs up, thumbs down?
No, I think I've ranted enough on this episode. You get your you go on it. Yeah.
So side note, you currently, this is the 13th episode that we have covered.
Yeah.
You are 10-3 as
Woo!
far as 10 down, 3 up. I guess
that is.
Yeah, 10-3 for the negative.
That's a lopsided ratio right there. Yeah.
I am 3-10 for the positive.
That is hilarious.
That is fucking crazy. I have been on a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 thumbs up in a row.
Yeah.
This episode got a thumbs up from me. I have noticed that as I watch these and I take notes, I have a different opinion of them sometimes than after we sit and talk together.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be a surprise or if it should be a surprise, but Lorenzo and I are doing our research for these episodes separately. And then we come together not knowing what each other think or what notes we took of the individual episodes.
Yeah.
And sit down together and fucking hash these out and talk about what's going on. So I gave this thing a solid thumbs up.
Yeah.
I have noticed that as we're fucking nitpicking the nitty gritty hell out of these fucking things, that I have more complaints than I have good things to say.
Yeah.
And so 40 minutes ago, I was doubting myself. I'm like, I know that in 40 minutes I'm going to say thumbs up, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to justify saying thumbs up with everything that I've been saying.
Yeah.
But I think to kind of put it in a nutshell, I felt like this was a fun addition to the Clone Wars. Like, it's about clones, right? We definitely could have done without the broody, weird Anakin shit and like Obi-Wan trying to like pet him down off of his woe is me chair of solitude or whatever. We didn't need Grievous, but like the core of, we've got a group of clones that are rookies. We've got these new commando droids that are coming in, and like we have two different versions of new. We have new unexperienced, and we have new technology that is harder to defend against because it's new, right? So we got new guys that are unexperienced, and then we have things that are unexperienced being fighted against. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Fighting against each other, and what happens after that? Like, how does this all work out? There's definitely some, I can feel some retconny shit that happened with Clone Cadets several episodes ago. Like, I can feel why some of the things in that episode happened, and that's probably, if I would have watched that one later, it would have tainted my experience of that episode. But since we watched it chronologically and we're past that, like, okay, whatever. So that's why I gave this thing a thumbs up, because at the core, we got two groups of essentially newbies fighting against each other, and we get to see how both of these things interact with each other and the opposite to come to some sort of definitive conclusion.
Yeah. See, what I'm finding it interesting. So just analyzing, now that we're 13 episodes in, I think you and I are getting in a rhythm of kind of like I'm seeing and just getting to know you better via how you see the Clone Wars, Right. I find it interesting that you are picking up on these thematic things, which I can see that it is there. The episode is rookies, they're talking about it. And every step of the way, they're seeding in kind of what they need to, but then there's still so many missteps as they try and just structure the story together that it gets so convoluted and messy that to me,
right,
it breaks it, right? It makes these connections weak.
And that is, we are definitely identifying those things as we go through these.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that I'm not experiencing those things to begin with, because behind the scenes for this episode, I probably have 15 to 20 pages of notes. Yeah. Right. So it's not that I'm not taking the time to find all these all this minutia and everything that we are talking about along the way, but it definitely hits you and me differently.
Yes.
Where for you, you're like, fuck, this episode's broken. Like, this one's a thumbs down.
Yeah. Because I think what it's coming down to, and again, pulling this out from the bubble of just Star Wars, as of this recording, and I know you have not seen it, but the big movie that just came out last night, was Avengers: Infinity War. And the opinions already, and you do not look it up until you see that movie, Kevin.
I am not,
but
we're a couple days away, hopefully.
But what I am getting a sense from that, and what I see as a microcosm between you and me, even right now, is that is a movie that is 100% well made. I want to be clear. The movie is well made, but it is definitely complete fan service. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Fan service is not good or bad. It just is an action item, right?
Right.
So, trying to say anything without ruining it, but
yeah,
so like
you're
bring it back,
bordering on
bringing it back to Clone Wars. No, bring it back to Clone Wars. It seems like you have a favorable relationship to these characters that you have kind of formed, and you're hooked in with these characters.
Okay.
Right? With the clones. Me, I am trying my best to let the story hook me in.
Right, you're still being sold on this thing.
Yes, but because of the brokenness of it, it is for you. You're along with it. You're again, it's not good or bad. It's just how we are how I'm perceiving that you are perceiving it. Right. You are just in with these characters, and yes, there's these distractions with Obi-Wan and Anakin that's unnecessary to the story, but the story of the clones itself is still there for you, and you're pulled into it. Where I am, the way you put it, I still need to be sold on it, right? Like 13 episodes in, or what are we minus the 4, if we're going to count the movie as 4 episodes, so 13 little segments in,
right?
I'm still, and I this is just coming to me now, but like each episode almost still kind of has to resell me almost, right?
Right.
Because it's so stepping back from Avengers into the parts that you have seen, like to me, each Marvel movie still needs to be a movie with a beginning, middle, and end. They can't just rest on their laurels of just like, we're gonna throw these references in, because then next thing you know, you have Batman versus Superman, and there's like a dark side reference that leads to nowhere, and Flash is showing up like, I've come too soon. Like, what the fuck did that have to do with anything in this story, right?
Right.
So, and I get that there's a balance there, like, Captain America seeding things with like the Tesseract in the first Captain America, that comes back in Avengers, so
even though nobody knew it was the Tesseract at the
exactly.
time, it was the Cosmic Cube.
The Cosmic Cube, but nonetheless, like Captain America, the first Avenger, from first frame to last frame, works as its own individual movie, but the seeding that it does is there, but it doesn't distract from the main story, right?
Right.
So where I get broken up is that the Clone Wars thus far, by and large, has had episodes that fuck up the individual storytelling to try and throw in like, we're going to throw Obi-Wan and Anakin in this episode because we just want to have Jedi in this episode, I guess, and even though they're not really relevant to the story, other than the fact that yes, they do come to save the day at the end, that is great, but there's nothing about the previous setup of going back and forth between clones and Yularen and Obi-Wan that there's no extra information there that helps us determine like, oh, that's where they came from, because that wouldn't matter. Just the fact that they show up is all I would have needed, right?
Right.
So that's my long analysis on, I'm not actively, I think I said this like early on in the podcast too, like the fact that you explicitly said I'm 10 and 3 for the negative side, I hope that it's coming across that I'm not trying to sit here and just automatically bash this show,
Yeah, and I think it's important to be said, like, this thumbs up, thumbs down thing is not something that I shared with Lorenzo before any of this started. Like, we were at the end of the first episode, and I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Like, give me your opinion. And since then, I've been tracking it because I wanted to see how... I kind of knew Lorenzo's overall opinion of the Clone Wars, right? But I wanted to track it segment by segment to see at the end, and even for myself, like my overall opinion before starting this thing was I liked the Clone Wars. I also haven't seen it in fucking 4 years or whatever, so revisiting this, I want to be able to go through and find out, do we actually like it or not? And that's what we use this last segment for, which is kind of the whole meat and potatoes of everything. We got 1,000 fucking details building up to, do we like it or don't we? And so far, it's showing that Lorenzo, no, Kevin, yes. So we'll have to see next week if we're gonna, because right now we're pretty well opposite. You know? Lorenzo's 10 and 3, I'm 3 and 10. However you want to look at that. So
no, I'm glad you're keeping track of that, because that is an important thing to look back on, at least every now and then, to kind of keep track of as we carry on. Because again, like I wouldn't be watching this if I was going, life's too short to go in with like a sour attitude into everything, right? Like,
right.
So, I've this is part of my day job too, is making things, and I know what can happen when I've worked on a thing and it's gotten reviews and it hasn't been great, and like the producers and the directors I've worked with, they get like all worked up, and I'm sitting there like, hold on guys, like listen to what the reviewer said and then let's figure out, is that valid, rather than just like, these critics just don't care and they don't want, I think I told you, like we had a review in freaking like New York Times or something like that just was not nice. But honestly, as soon as I read that review, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I honestly have those exact same complaints, but I'm like lower on the totem pole, so it's not my place to say things like that. But once it kind of comes out, I then tell the director and the producer, I'm like, yeah, maybe we did use a lot of drone shots in the movie that was unnecessary, and like luckily, like our producer and director are cool enough that it's become inner joke where, we'll talk about our next project and then I'll joke. I'm like, should I bring the drone? Like, but anyway, so, it's just one of those things where it just, this project has been interesting because, just to keep heavy track of it in that form. Right. So anyways, I'm kind of rambling now. So I had a point and then I kind of like started circling in that drain somewhere. So
we will continue. We will continue the Attack of the Clones. We'll continue these Clone Wars in minutia for a long time.
And I swear we're not trying to make these longer and longer every time. I think
we were actually talking earlier about how we need to shorten these things up. So
now we are. I think we're on our longest episode yet.
We are.
So, sure. I think our thing is the better we're getting at this, the better we are at nitpicking random details.
Right.
Is what's happening.
To maybe lighten up on that a little bit. So come back next week and see if we can rein ourselves in, control ourselves a little bit more.
Let's see.
And we are trying to shorten these up. If anybody made it this far, we're about 2 hours and 11 minutes into recording.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long the final product gets to be. But
I think just a minute off the top.
We are looking to shorten these up a little bit to around that hour and a half, hour 45 mark is I think where we want to stick to.
At least like at a max. Like if God willing and God helps us out in some form. I'm not even a religious person. It just is the phrase to say. But, I think at the beginning we were like, oh yeah, like 45 minutes to 60 minutes would be a great goal. And then, no.
Yeah, we were afraid of not having enough content. And now we're saying we probably got too much. But
yeah, I remember like in our first prelim meetings, we're like, yeah, like how long do you want these to be? 60 minutes. Great. Yeah, anyways.
So it's ramblings like these that increase the length.
Oh, yeah.
So
we're really bad at that. Anyways, so
Lorenzo, why don't you run through our social media whatnot?
Social media, we are on Twitter at Not the Nerds and Instagram at Not the Nerds. We are on Facebook at Not the Nerds Podcast. If you want to email us, we are notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com. I was about to put another at in the front of that. We have Kevin, who designed our graphic. You can reach him on Twitter if you'd like to try and commission him or ask him any questions about stuff like that. He's on Twitter at They Call Me K-Dub, and Lindsay did our nice opening and closing jingle. She is at strangefantasymusic@gmail.com if you want to reach out to her for anything.
That is correct.
Did I? Yeah. Wow.
Yep, you got it.
I really got that all. Yeah, I got that all. All right. I don't know how that happened after this 2.25 hour thing. Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's
Let's get the fuck out of here. So hopefully coming soon we may be able to add some stuff to the end of the what we have to offer, social or online presence. Anyway. Yeah,
please please review us on review us on iTunes if we're too fucking long. Google Play. The reason I'm bringing this up now, as I'm extending this a little bit longer, I did get confirmation we are on TuneIn. So
I still need to check that out and see how that works. So
yes, so if you're on, I'm going to be careful saying it.
If you have shit out on Twitter,
I'll be careful saying it in my own place. If you have an echo, and no blue rings went off for that. So basically, if you have an echo, I think you can just say, "Hey, madam, play this." These aren't the nerds you're looking for, and hopefully I haven't tested it out myself. I should probably try that at some point, but theoretically that should work now. So anyways, okay, getting the fuck out of here.
That being said,
getting the fuck out of here.
See you guys next week. These aren't the nerds you're looking for.